guys, welcome back to my channel. So if you're new here, my name's Katie and I make videos mainly about my faith and Jesus. I do love to dive into minimalism, simple living, motherhood, all the other parts of my life that I'm extremely passionate about. I do tend to tie all of those topics, even if it's not like a biblical video, into my faith, because I truly believe that a minimalist, intentional lifestyle is extremely connected to how we are called to live as Christians. And so I was putting together this video and just kind of writing up a list of some intentional things that we do in our large family. So I'm going to give a little bit of a background. I am a Catholic mama of 4 kiddos. I have been married for almost 11 years. So I think it's extremely important to live intentionally, especially if you have kiddos and you are raising kids. I think it's extremely easy to be guided by what the world says and what the world says we need and what the world says is important. So the first thing that we do is we don't feel the need to buy the next big newest thing. So, you know, like the new cell phones coming out and everyone gets the newest cell phone. And all the end trends that happen with fashion and home decor and toys and activities to put the kids into. All these next new biggest things that we could do and we could have and we could acquire, we don't do for the sake of it being the next big thing. If it's something that's going to add value to our lives, then great. But if it's not, and it's just something that we're doing to quote unquote fit in and to do what everyone else is doing because we quote unquote have to, we don't do it. And so I will not buy a new phone unless mine is completely broken. Same thing with my computer or a water bottle or something, anything. Even at Trader Joe's, I was carrying my grocery bags, and I have these reusable ones that I bought at Trader Joe's, I don't know, maybe a year ago, and I use them every week. And I was there, and the lady said that they could replace my grocery bags. And I didn't know they do that, but apparently they will. And the reason is because mine had like holes at the bottom. I've used them to pieces. But see, like I wasn't going to just go buy new ones so they look new and pretty. I mean, they're starting to wear down, and eventually I'm going to be carrying my groceries, and it's going to open up on the bottom, and my groceries are going to go everywhere. So it's at the point that I could buy new grocery bags. But I just try to be really intentional about this and not just go and buy the next thing just because it's new or just because the world says we need it. The next one could be kind of controversial, and that is we don't buy our kids everything they want. And this is because our wants and our needs are really kind of mixed up. I think our needs are very few, and we tend to think that we need a lot more than we do. And so there's nothing wrong with wanting things, and there's nothing wrong with kids wanting to get something new, or even me wanting to get something new. But we don't need to. And if there's a time where it's just not the best situation or the best idea to be buying something new, we explain to our kids, we're very honest with them, that it's okay to want something and not get it immediately. It's okay to wait for it. We have an issue with that in our culture, is we just kind of get everything right away, and we don't really wait for anything anymore. And waiting is not a bad thing. Patience is not a bad thing. It's okay to wait and be patient, because sometimes that want leaves, and later on you maybe don't even want it anymore. So it's really good to think on these things. I also don't want to raise children that think that they can just get everything they want all the time. That's not a very good outlook on life. The next thing is we do not do iPads in this home. I have seen some very scary statistics about the whole like iPad kid movement when the iPad came out and all these kids had their own iPads and tablets. And this could be controversial because I know kids love them and I know parents love having them for their kids, but I have never been that mom that does that. And we are not a screen-free house. We have a TV. My kids play video games. They have screen time, but they don't need their own individual iPad that they have internet access to, and they can just be plugged in all the time. I have seen some really scary situations, and I use the word scary because I worry that this is ruining our kids' attention spans and their ability to be able to sit still. Next one is something that took me a little bit to learn through the minimalism journey, and that is we have made minimalism fit our home and our family and our children. There are so many different ways that you can do minimalism. I think minimalism has become a little bit of a fad and a little bit of a trendy topic. A lot of people dive into it, do it for a little bit, and then leave and figure out that it didn't fit for them or it didn't work for them. Maybe it's because they went too extreme or they got rid of too much or they thought they had to get rid of this or they had to own this, and so then it doesn't work for them. And we kind of forget the meaning behind minimalism. And so I did this. I got rid of things that I shouldn't have gotten rid of. I tried to fit into the minimalism mold for a little bit, and it kind of backfired. And so I realized after several years of dealing with this and several kids dealing with minimalism, I realized that minimalism has to fit into my family, and it has to be about intention. It can't be about another label. The whole reason for pursuing a more minimalist lifestyle is to be intentional, and we kind of forget that, and we get sucked into another idea of another label that we could fit. And so what I mean by this is my kids love to, I'll give an example, display their Lego sets in their bedroom. So instead of maybe a few years ago me saying, I don't want to put a shelf on the wall because I don't want to have clutter on the wall, now I say these Lego sets are really important to my children, and so they really want to display their Legos. So we will buy them a shelf and they can display their favorite pieces of little creations that they have made and created, and they can display it in their bedrooms. That's just kind of an example. Or, some minimalists follow the whole, their kids or even themselves have to follow an all neutral home decor or neutral clothing or whatever, paint all their walls white. And it's like, you don't have to be minimal. So we have fit minimalism into our family versus our family into minimalism. And it has become a lot more enjoyable, and just bringing that intentionality into minimalism instead of it just being another label. I hope that makes sense. So we filter the content that we consume as a family, like all together. And so we don't just consume the latest music. We don't just consume the new movie that came out. We don't let our kids play the newest video games. We read into everything, and we make sure that these things are okay to be viewing, that don't go against our beliefs, that don't go against God. So whether that's a movie that my husband and I are watching, whether that is a TV show that my kids are watching, a video game that they want to play, music that I'm going to play for my children or for myself, everything that we consume, the saying, you are who you hang out with. Well, our kids are little sponges and they soak up everything. And so do we. Just because we're adults doesn't mean we're not soaking up what we're consuming. We are very much still soaking up what we're consuming, and we are making things normal when they're not. So we just filter through anything that my kids are viewing or that my husband and I are viewing. So the next one falls into cooking and like saving money. So it's kind of funny. Anytime my husband and I eat out, or our whole family eats out, which isn't very often, but if we do, my husband and I always look at each other. It literally happens every time. We say, this wasn't worth it. This did not taste that amazing. I could have made this at home and it would have been fresher, it would have been healthier, and this thing of guacamole cost $9 and I could have made it for like $2. So my husband and I have really enjoyed figuring out our favorite types of restaurants and then figuring out how to make them at home. And we make it 10 times better, I promise you. So there is a vegan restaurant that we used to go to that actually closed down, but they made the best cashew cheese nachos. And when they said they made nacho cheese out of cashews, I thought, how are they doing that? Well, I figured it out. And it literally tastes the same exact way, if not maybe a little better. We make our favorite meals out of things that we're just buying at the grocery store in our weekly grocery budget. And it has helped cut down on costs and has made it more enjoyable to cook and to kind of experiment at home with restaurant ideas and meals that we maybe liked from other restaurants. And it's kind of fun to do and to kind of experiment in the kitchen. So that is an area that we are intentional in, saving money and cooking. I've been trying to dive more into cooking and baking as a mom. I think it's kind of a lost art. We don't really need to do it anymore. We used to have to cook and we used to have to bake as homemakers, and we don't really have to anymore. There's so many, pre-packaged and pre-made foods nowadays that I kind of think we've lost this art as homemakers. And so anyway, that's been kind of something fun that I've been trying to learn more about. But learning how to make food at home yourself saves a lot of money and creates a way more intentional cooking habits. The next one is we don't buy something immediately. And this could be something that is $7. This could be something that is $500. I'll give a few examples. So there was a time where we went it was a little over a year without a sofa. And that was because we had gotten rid of our sofa for several reasons. And then I made at the time in our old house, I made a little floor sofa out of, it sounds weird, but it was a twin mattress with a really cool linen cover. And I put a bunch of throw pillows on it, and it was a very chill floor sofa. And we did that for a year. Just to figure out if we really needed to invest in a sofa. And it was a really cool learning experience for my family. We didn't just go and buy a sofa immediately. Now you don't have to wait a year. That's kind of a long time if you have a large family. But we also have the nugget couches, and so we would pull those out during movie night, and we'd have all these floor sofa mats on the ground, and it was really fun. It wasn't a bad experience at all. I highly recommend that if you're just trying to figure out if I need to spend this money right now, just wait on it. You don't have to make the decision immediately. Maybe it's not something that you need right now. So we waited. After that time, we realized that we miss having a sofa. We want a sofa again. And so a year later, we bought one. And I have to say, I really do like having a sofa. So I'm big into deprivation sometimes. Depriving ourselves for a little bit. Figuring out, is it something that we really need? Or could we wait on it? There's one of my favorite artists on Etsy. She makes beautiful, beautiful paintings of Jesus. And I have several of them through my home. There was one that I really wanted, and it was in my Etsy cart for I don't know, maybe 3 months, 4 months. And I just waited on it, and I didn't buy it immediately. And after some time passed, I got a coupon code from the seller, and I thought, yeah, I really want this. I've been eyeing it for a while. This Jesus painting is just beautiful. That is one way I really do enjoy decorating my home, is with pieces of our faith and of Jesus. It's just beautiful to see those kind of reminders throughout my home. And so I went ahead and got it. And so it's just waiting, not being so in a rush to acquire something or to consume something, I think is a really healthy mindset to have, especially just as an individual within our marriage, and for my kids to see. It's good for them. Kind of going back to that mindset of not giving them everything they want immediately, it's okay to wait for it and figure out if it's really something that you want. So the next one is we live in a slower paced, like a slower paced life compared to the rest of the world. I never want my life to look like the rest of the world. We aren't called to live that way. And so we don't, have really scheduled days. We don't rush around one activity to the next. We don't put our kids in things just for the sake of keeping them busy. I think it's really important to listen to your children's interests, to listen to what they need for their childhood, to what my husband needs, to what I need individually, and not just do things for the sake of being busy. I love having my free afternoons where I can read books with my kids. I can fold laundry. I can watch a movie with my kiddos. We can go on a bike ride. You can enjoy life so much more. Our weekends are more free with my husband, to have family time. And so I think it's really cool to just not take things so rushed. We live in such a hustle, grind, hustle and grind type of lifestyle this world is so associated with. And I want to go opposite of that in my home. So the next one kind of goes with slowing down, and that is keeping a restful Sabbath. I don't think that we rest enough. And I don't just mean sleep. I mean, that's a really important part. And I know I'm horrible about going to bed late. But we don't rest, meaning we don't take the day that even like God said to take a day and rest. We don't. We just kind of keep going. I look at the world on Sunday when we're going to Mass, and I'm like, there's still like cars rushing around and going, and they're still hustling around. And we need that day for our family, for our relationship with Jesus, to rest. It's so important. And so I actually really want to go into this in another video. I feel like I could make a video about this topic, about rest, and about keeping one day a week dedicated to rest and keeping the Sabbath. The next one that we do to keep an intentional home is we keep date night a priority. So don't think that we're talking about a very materialistic, secular date night. I mean a night with my husband every single week that is dedicated to time for just us. Even my kids know about this, and it's good for them to see mommy and daddy prioritizing their marriage. So we are not the type of couple that goes out every week and spends a bunch of money and gets a babysitter. No. Our date night is when our kids go to sleep. And we will watch a movie. We will talk. We will have, we'll make milkshakes. We'll have a treat. We'll just have that time together. Light some candles. Just kind of come back together again. And I think it's really important to still have fun with each other, even though you've been married for a long time. Still date each other. Still treat each other like you love each other. That's so common in this world, is for a husband and wife to just separate because they've been married for a long time or because they're busy and they have a lot of kids. This is the most important time to come back together when you have a lot of kids and when you've been married for a long time, to prioritize your marriage and to keep God in the center of your marriage. It will do wonders for you two as a couple, but it will also do wonders for the kiddos watching. So we set boundaries in this home. So we have boundaries. I have boundaries for myself. My husband has boundaries. My children have boundaries. Whether that's like the content we consume, like I talked about. I think it's important to have boundaries. I've talked about that several times, and I think we live in a world that we just don't want to be told no. We don't want to be told that we can't do something. We want what we want, and it's just not supposed to be that way. I mean, we were created with boundaries. I mean, God was very clear from the beginning what we were supposed to do and what we're not supposed to do. And so I think boundaries are something extremely healthy to have for yourself and for your children. I don't know how much this one will be relatable to a lot of you. Maybe it'll be relatable to some. But I feel like I've seen where some parents will keep their beliefs in things that they believe are right and wrong from their kids. And like, we believe what we believe as mommy and daddy, but when you grow up, you can kind of decide what you believe. We don't do that. I think that our job as parents and as mothers and fathers is to raise our kids up with the truth and to raise them knowing right from wrong. And so that's our job. And so what we believe as a family is all very common ground. My kids know my husband and my beliefs, and they are a part of our prayer life. They are a part of our faith. They know why we go to church every Sunday. They know why we believe what we believe. And we're supposed to raise our kids up in the truth. And so I think that's a really important part of our intentional home. So I would love to hear anything that you guys do to keep an intentional home. If it's anything that we do that you can relate to, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And I thank you for being here with me today and for joining me. I'll see you in my next one.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe so you can see every time I post a new video. Thank you guys for being here, and I'll see you in my next one. God bless.